Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, what's going on in our nation, and how we're going to fix both of them together. And the content that I'm going to show you right now is another episode, another installment of our series, An Invisible Mass Shooting, because another one just happened. It was in Orlando, Florida on Halloween. You didn't hear about it, even though it was caught on camera. Now, it begs the question, which is the whole point of this series, if the media is so hellbent on banning guns and banning all sorts of Second Amendment activities, why don't they cover every single mass shooting the exact same? That's the point. It raises some questions. Everything that I'm about to show you is linked in the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on if you want to spread freedom from coast to coast and border to border. And thank you in advance for that consideration. And guys, the entire point of this segment, the invisible mass shootings, it's to show the hypocrisy of the media, which is why I also like to partner with Ground News. Check a few things out about them, something that's really important, and then we're going to hit on the other side. Guys, I'm excited to welcome back to the channel one of my favorite sponsors, Ground.News. And you can find out all about this at ground.news/Langley. But one of the reasons they're my favorite sponsors is because they genuinely help with the mission of this channel. They show you the bias, the distribution, who owns the information that you're consuming. It cuts through all of the BS to give us a true picture of what's actually happening. Now, if you look on the homepage right here through the Vantage subscription, which is what I'm logged into, you can see the election news on the right. You can see the main articles that are featured in the middle. But this one we covered earlier today, top left on the daily briefing, Trump's Cheney comments. Now look at this. We covered this, but look at the distribution. The left is responding a lot bigger than the right, with the middle making up the middle, which is ironic because that's what they are. 201 articles from the 60 original. You can see it right there. Then if you go down here, it shows you the actual bias distribution. Guys, this is one of those tools that is so applicable for what we do, and it's something that you can get for 50% off with a link in the description box below, the Vantage subscription. This is something that I think you will find value from, and thank you to them for making this content possible. Check it out. All right, guys, enough of the just shenanigans from the media. So if you guys have been around, alive recently, you've noticed that whenever there's a tragedy that happens in the United States, the media and the Democrats and the politicians and the gun controllers are very, very quick and adept to say that it's the gun's fault. It's the fact that we have gun rights in this country that leads to all this crime, because if the guns didn't exist, we wouldn't have crime. Well, it's weird because they pick and choose which ones they want to cover. All of our episodes of the Invisible Mass Shootings have all been checkbox mass shootings by their definitions, but they haven't covered them. They only cover certain ones. Yeah, I wonder why. Let's jump into this. As you can see, Orlando mass shooting live updates. 2 dead, 7 hurt in Halloween shooting. Teen detained. There's your first hint right there. A teen detained, because a teen can't buy a gun like that. So, here's the part where I say the disclaimer. I don't want any of this stuff to happen. I don't want shootings to occur. I don't want people to be injured and harmed. But I also want to keep our Second Amendment rights and keep it 100% on what's causing this issue, not our gun rights may be criminals. In fact, I've got it on video. It's actually caught on video. And you tell me why they wouldn't cover this in the mainstream media across the nation the same way they do with other tragedies. Let's just play it real quick, and I'll stop it at the obvious point, but you get the idea. So, you can see that red circle right there navigating through the crowd. This is a Halloween party in Orlando on November 1st, October 31st, November 1st. That's an individual just running around, just walking, no big deal. Then all of a sudden decides to do that. Okay, so is that a traditional mass shooting, as you would say? Because 2 did die, and I don't want them to die, and it's a tragedy that they died, and 7 others were injured. There was one assailant who walked into a crowd and shot someone directly, targeted. And yet, this is the outcome. You can see all of the different people running around. Everything's happening. Crowd scatters. Typical traditional shooting incident in the crowded area. And then the police see the perpetrator and tackle him to the ground very shortly when they identify what's going on. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this, as he gets arrested and he gets dropped and boop, okay, game over, good talk. The reason that I show you all this is because it sets up this point right here. Remember, the mass shootings that the media like to tell you, the definition is 4 people injured by a gunshot except the shooter, okay? So they're actually calling what you just saw a mass shooting. All right? That's the important point of this entire series. The reason I call it an invisible mass shooting is they don't tell you because it doesn't fit their narrative. All right? Let's get into this a little bit. Let me show you these highlighted points. Police said they charged a 17-year-old male with 2 counts of first-degree murder with a firearm and 6 counts of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. A 17-year-old. You starting to check out why this doesn't make all the news and national headlines? It barely reached out of Orlando when this happened, because you probably didn't hear about it. You can let me know in the comments if you heard about it. But this is what they're qualifying as a mass shooting. In fact, this is why it's so much BS. This was the 27th mass shooting in Florida this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive, amid more than 400 nationwide. CNN defines a mass shooting as an incident where at least 4 people were shot, excluding the shooter. This is the point and the reason I highlighted this little portion. They consider this a mass shooting in the Gun Violence Archive, which is then cited by people like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, Obama, all the Democrats who want gun control. They cite that 27th mass shooting in Florida, but they don't tell you what just happened. It was caught on camera. Did that look like a mass shooting to you, or did that look like a criminal action? That's why this is so important, because they use these numbers to boost the idea that the America that we know is such a horrible, nasty place where guns are just causing people to go on mass shooting rampages, but they're not showing you clips that clearly show that was an individual murdering another individual and people were caught in the crossfire. Just like when we talk about the gang shootings, when one group is shooting at the other and they don't say that's anything but a mass shooting, they don't call that a gang activity, they don't call that crime, organized crime, interaction between 2 different gang groups shooting each other. No, that's not what we talk about. What we talk about is the guns. The idea of covering this stuff is to bring light to the hypocrisy. Let's continue. The suspect opened fire in one location before running away with the crowd, Police Chief Eric Smith said, citing footage of the first shooting, which what we just showed you. At the second location, police took down the suspect moments after he opened fire, the video showed. Whatever his mindset was, he was going to shoot no matter what, Smith said. He walked by multiple officers. He didn't really care. Again, this is not a mass shooting. This is a criminal hell-bent on murder. This is not a guns problem. This is the individual's problem. And this was a 17-year-old who could not buy a gun legally in the United States. And yet he had it. Are you starting to see why the media is not going to cover this? Because it doesn't check the boxes of a mass shooting which can be used by Democrats for gun control. Why would Harris and Walz not jump on this when it's one of their main campaign points? Because it doesn't fit their narrative, again, which is not about the problem, it's about the politics. Authorities are confident the shooter acted alone, Smith said Friday afternoon, adding the suspect is not cooperating or speaking with authorities. The suspect was previously arrested on grand theft charge in 2023, Smith said. Previous action, grand theft, also a felon. How can a felon have a gun? How can a 17-year-old felon have a gun? How could a 17-year-old decide to just randomly walk in and just murder people? This is literally criminal behavior. But you're not going to hear about this because these facts that we're talking about right now undermine the narrative of the media and the gun controllers and the Democrats. It's not about solving the crime problem. It's about utilizing the crime problem to get rid of the guns that they don't like and destroy the Second Amendment, even though it's plain as day what just happened here. Let's continue, because this is where they turn it on constitutional carry and our rights. The attack was yet another example of gunfire interrupting ordinary American life, from parade routes to campus homecomings to a night out on the town. Yeah, when criminals go to criminal, they don't really care where they're going to criminal. 17-year-old felon had a gun, went into the intent to do murder, and walked past several police officers to do it, and then was captured. Guys, what do you want from us? Good Lord. And this last part right here, this is the part where they start to try to twist it. This is about constitutional carry in Florida. But this year, measures used in previous years to screen people for weapons during the downtown Halloween celebration, including checkpoints and gun-sniffing dogs, were not possible because of a 2023 state law allowing most people to carry a concealed weapon without a permit, Smith said. Quote, when the law changed, basically you can carry on a public street as long as you meet certain criteria, like being an adult and not a felon. Yeah, didn't mention that though. The change has made it even easier for people to carry guns and bring guns downtown, Mayor Buddy Dyer said. Mayor Buddy Dyer is a bit of a dork, because if the constitutional carry law were applied, he couldn't have that gun because he's 17 years old. He's a minor, can't buy the gun, can't carry a handgun, much less concealed. And the idea that a felon has a gun is a problem with a concealed carry law is pretty stupid. Anyway, last thing. We want a downtown that is fun and vibrant, but we have experienced lately that brazen criminals are willing to come downtown and shoot and kill innocent victims right in front of our police officers, Dyer said. And that is how we're going to wrap this up. We have a problem in this nation with our hearts and our minds, not with what our hands. Because a person literally who is 17 years old, who has a history of a felonious activity, just picked up a gun, of which they could not buy legally, walked into a crowded area, started shooting people, and the media's only response is mass shooting. 27th in Florida this year, 400th nationwide. Guys, this is a long-standing push of propaganda to convince you and others who are not familiar with what they're doing to give up their gun rights. It's malfeasance. It's BS. And we're going to continue covering these whenever they pop up because it highlights their hypocrisy. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.